Well, hello everyone, and welcome back. It's the BTS America's #2 Grand Finals of Cloud9 going toe-to-toe against Team Imagine, or now they're known as, or once again known as, Team Leviathan. This is KotLGuy for Beyond the Summon. I'm going to be joined again from Blaze remotely here. Got to firstly apologize for the bit of delay. We did have a minor update rollout for Dota. Nothing too significant, but the players, of course, did have to step off. Update, we got everyone back in, and there was issues with broadcasters getting connected into the game. So on and so forth. We finally get our action. We're finally here. Blaze, the hype is still alive. The series is now even. And Cloud9, maybe not getting as easy as a series as they were anticipating.
Absolutely. You can't really kill the hype out of that kind of game. Like, that was absolutely insane from both sides. But, yeah, I'm sure the Leviathan are very happy about being able to close out that really long and particularly disadvantaged game. Now they're going to go ahead and pick up the Pudge in the first phase. We were seeing it banned in the second phase twice over, so they're like, not this time. Getting Shibby's, Lina, and Jenkins Pudge, these are signature heroes that should be able to do some real work. I'm expecting some smoke ganks towards the mid lane, punishing whoever is opposing the Lina, and the ban of the TA, so that matchup is not going to occur this time around. So we've got the Bounty Hunter Tusk for Cloud9. They're going to be putting out a lot of aggression with MSS this time. This guy's Ice Shards are pretty much the best I've seen. I've seen a lot of Tusk play, especially in this patch, but he is so on point when it comes to just isolating those targets and zoning them out.
And I'm curious now that Leviathan have committed here for the early Jenkins Pudge. You already said, you know, they've been denied it previously in the past two second ban phases, so this time they don't want to lose out on a possible third opportunity. So how do Cloud9 respond? Do they put together a good safe lane that could harass this Pudge and kind of, you know, make his life a living hell? Or do you get something in preparation, but, you know, just in chance you do manage to get hooked and caught and pick up something more mobile? What do you do with this kind of information that's being put out so early?
5 seconds remaining.
Well, the way that Jenkins has been playing Pudge is, for the most part, he does get zoned out really heavily. He does get taken away from the creep wave, and then he just smokes and roams anyway. So I would say people that can cover the Lina mid in an effective manner, maybe those can kind of tank the smoke, scout out a little bit, just get good intel against this Pudge, because if you don't know where he's at, he's going to be that much more dangerous. I think early responders, maybe somebody that can pick up a TP scroll level 1 like a Dazzle or an Abaddon would be a great way to make it happen, or maybe you just put the Bounty Hunter far more emphatically on the mid and you give him a double sentry ward to kind of allow him to do that. It's hard to say a clear-cut way to deal with it other than positioning and map sense, but yeah, I think it's going to be key that they at least are aware of how he moves, and hopefully we've seen Theban research that a little bit.
Cloud9 will now ban out the Wyvern here. Kind of gives you an idea that maybe Cloud9 could be considering a Naga possibly themselves. It just seems like something in case you want to be dealing with, you know, don't want to have to be dealing with like that Splinter Shot and a pesky Winter's Curse to catch him outright. Though Storm had already been banned out. Curious to see where they're going to put more value now. Wagering this Tusk will be set up, of course, in the off-lane get-up, so a secondary support or an early Brax grab, or if they do put value into Ritsu and what's remaining for him here, because there's not many options, he's going to have to start digging into that possible, you know, like Slark grab, the more that these heroes are limited. AM gone, PL gone, Ember gone already, and there's not going to be much left for him here. So of what's remaining, anything that kind of, you know, might kind of suit the bill better. You're going against a Pudge and a Lina. There's only so much you can kind of stand up to the two of them in the heavy burst of that Laguna.
Yeah, I would say wait and see. I don't think they want to pick up the carry at this stage. You get a little bit more intel into Imagine's lineup, the nature of their disables, and you might be able to make a better call. For now, they're going to go with the Dazzle. So the Bounty Hunter Tusk will be in the offlane. The Dazzle will be supporting in the safe lane. And you're looking for probably a little bit more physical damage. Gyrocopter's still in the pool. I think that he would probably be the right pick. I mean, yeah, he's vulnerable to anything that goes through BKB, like the Linas, Ags, or the Pudges, Hook, Dismember, but if you position well and you have your allies behind you, I still think the the Gyrocopter can do some amazing work here.
Is just the Dazzle alone, though, going to be enough to try to keep this Pudge zone back? If this Bounty Hunter does decide to go bottom and join the Tusk, I do worry for the Dazzle a bit. He's trying to zone back the Pudge. The Pudge could just turn and hook onto him, chase him down with a Rot. Yeah, he can live out a bit with the heal in the grave, but it could end up just being a bit frustrating for them, especially if Ritsu's going to have to pull away from his CS game and try to, you know, back up his Dazzle a bit. I'm curious if that's going to be a bit of a factor for them at all.
Yeah, it definitely is the risk you run, absolutely. So I think they could find opportunities where the bounty hunter sits top and helps the dazzle, goes bottom helps the Tusk, and when the Pudge is missing, probably needs to sit on the middle lane. That's going to be all on the rotation power and really seeing what SVG can do on the hero this time around. Last time he played bounty hunter, that was game number 1. His team still won, but he was by far the lowest impact hero in the game. So really looking to shape that up and get some real movement across the map. Predicting enemies' movements, and we'll see the wards in particular being a huge part to play in that. Still thinking, still tapping into reserve time, could obviously commit for either the carry or the mid here, and they do go for what I think is the mid Wind Ranger. A very mobile hero, obviously the Wind Run can help you dodge out Light Strike arrays and hooks, but if you do get caught, you're pretty much dead. You just have no HP to work with.
Yeah, during Cloud9's Nanyang run, Brax put up some of the best Wind Ranger performances I had seen. So he's definitely well versed on the hero and could work very nice. If Pudge gets a good catch out, she could be quick to respond, help out with the shackle, has good distance to work with, and is very good about not putting herself in a predicament where if this Pudge does roam early like Jenkins likes to do, she can still comfortably find some farm with that power shot. But we'll need to be very elusive to get away from the catch if it does come. And they will still continue to wait till the very end for the Ritsu grab, which only so many options are left. But until then, here's Leviathan's potential next pick, and they're going to be going for the Lion again. So they get their quick disable. It was their response in the first game when they went against the Bounty Hunter, and it seems like they're just favoring, again, more lockdown even in this matchup.
I think the line is much better here, and it's pretty much a hard counter to a couple of these heroes. The Tusk, Snowball, you can obviously get the double air spike against that. That can be very strong. And the Wind Ranger, you combine Finger of Death and Laguna Blade on Wind Ranger, she doesn't have the HP pool to put up with it. So he's going to have to go for a very tanky build, the very least add point booster early on towards that Aghanims. And yeah, the Finger of Death Laguna combo, that's going to be threatening a lot of heroes. It's going to be making it more difficult for Theban to respond with that Shallow Grave. A couple of critical points in the last game. Dazzle, Shallow Graves just weren't there, taking a lot of damage more abruptly than they expected, and a moment's hesitation, you lose lives. So, yeah, it's going to be a stressful game once again for him, because honestly, any game that runs long as a Dazzle is really, really frustrating. I've played so many hour-long games as Dazzle where you're always looking for that Shallow Grave. You're a walking Shallow Grave for the most part, and you have to be perfect with that spell. In conjunction with directing the team as a captain, he probably is a little stressed out from what happened in that 85-minute game, and he's got to make sure that he's calm, cool, and collected for this game here. In the meantime, Slark, going to be that final grab. You mentioned earlier, it seems like a pretty good pickup here.
Yeah, you know, we talked a bit at the back end of that last game that there's only so many very experienced players who get to kind of work with that situation when games just go so long and you're able to buckle down, strategize, and still, you know, push for the objective at hand. It's just as much needed experience that when those games don't work out in your favor, you're able to kind of shrug it off and battle back here, as Cloud9 are going to have to look to do. That last grab, yeah, is going to be the Ritsu Slark. Lots of sustained power between him and his crazy health regen. They have this Dazzle. And, you know, good close quarter combat. And this Slark, you know, he gets on the good end. A Pudge is a big meaty target and could add for easy, quick agility gains of your Slark if worked out appropriately. And overall just could be nice and elusive, make it very tricky for Lion to get some good lockdown, and also for the Witch Doctor. And look at this, last response coming out and already getting picked up here from Francis, the Shadow Fiend, final grab. So is this going to be a bit of an audible rotation, or will this be a safe lane Shadow Fiend to go against the dual lane?
Well, I think they could get some real value out of the Light Strike Array bottom, just because I already talked about the AoE stun factor versus the Snowball. You know they're going to snowball two heroes in, for the most part, to try to get the Bounty Hunter right on top of the target. And so I think Shibby would be better suited for the bottom lane than the Shadow Fiend. It's really good to have this player flexibility, because they could actually run it either way. But if they want to run like the Paralyzing Cask, the Earth Spike, and the Light Strike Array all in the same lane, like what can a Tusk actually do in that situation? He goes in, he pretty much dies.
Again, it's Leviathan pulling out the double laser buildup, though. We get the Finger and the Laguna all together. Just disgusting amounts of hefty burst, and definitely going to force your Dazzle to sweat it out a bit and making sure he gets appropriate grave timing. You can't just kind of wait and see like, oh, well, they're at about a quarter life. That's where we usually go for the grave. No, you're not against a lineup like this. There's always going to be some sort of hefty burst always available, and you could miss your opportunity to pull out a game-changing save just because you feel like that burst is not going to be there. But Teebin's a very experienced player, and I'm sure it's something he's considering. But it looks like we will lead in with just a little bit of a pause here coming out from the side of C9. But now that we've seen the five-man draft coming out from both fronts here, Blaze, any particular team that feel like is going to be able to be in a more comfortable position, starting with just the early laning phase? Is there more on C9 because they got still this Tusk potential bounty hunter duo that could prove to be a bit problematic even for the Lina? Or with that last Shadow Fiend pick, do you think Leviathan are going to be prepared?
I really like the SF pick and what they're doing with the laning configuration, so I think I would give it to Team Leviathan just to start things off. I mean, they're definitely going to be able to get the mechanism up for the Shadow Fiend. The Lina is going bottom. If you look at the tangos here, Shibby's got 4 tangos self-purchased, while Francis has 1 pooled tango, so that means he's definitely looking towards that mid lane and probably grabbing that bounty rune. Overall, there might be some issues getting experience spread out among the side of Team Leviathan, but you can get some good stacking on. Shadow Fiend will clear that, and you'll get it right back online. So I think overall I like what I'm seeing from Leviathan. And then, of course, how they're going to transition to mid-game is essentially a pick-and-push type strat, where they've got the Death Ball with the mechanism Shadow Fiend, they've got a lot of damage and disable behind it, and all they need is one good hook to really set things in motion. So I think they responded to the Tusk of MSS pretty well. They have cornered their ability to start gaining momentum towards the 10 to 20 minute mark, and from there, as long as they can keep people alive against the Bounty Hunter and such, then they can try to look to end the game before the Slark gets too big.
And I always get anxious, of course, when Jenkins manages to pull out the Pudge. What we'll be seeing from him in the laning phase. And we've seen before, always the one to get bullied and doesn't really seem to be able to thrive in the laning setup, but he always gets those little unorthodox early moves, early smoke movements, and that's where he can catch C9 a bit off guard. But if C9 have been doing their research, which I know from one of their coaches, or their coach rather, Loomdun, they do like to strategize when necessary, and I'm sure they're not looking to underestimate Leviathan. You know, they did say outright that they did underestimate Digital Chaos when they had their first rematch, and look what happened with that. They ended up going down 0-2. So I'm sure they're coming back into this game fully studied up and ready, and will probably anticipate any sort of early movement coming out from the Pudge. But here we go. We get to have a game. Welcome, everyone. It's BTS Americas, the 2nd edition. Grand final action here in Game 3, where this series is tied up 1-1. It's not going to be showing, of course, up there on the screen as due to Reborn. We can't quite get the match ticker and who's won what appropriately working, at least according to the admin. But here we go again. Another classic Leviathan 5-man smoke in Game 1. Proved to be very successful. Game 2, they didn't quite get a whole lot with it, but here they are back again at Game 3. And they eyeball Brax across the river.
I'm not sure about the smoke break factor versus the meat hook if you're actually going to be able to get it off, but they definitely scouted out the Wind Ranger. They're moving up to the high ground. They want to go for a full wrap on her, and Brax actually might get caught here. Just a little bit of line of sight, and then the Earth Spike or the Hex, and they should be able to get this, but just narrowly backs off in time. They're going to rely on a long hook, and I don't think they're going to find it.
He even committed for the hook itself, and will fake it out once. I mean, ideally, if you're able to get into close quarter combat at the start, you'll go with the Rot for the easy kill, but they were banking on getting that kind of a catch. It forces Brax back and away, and the smoke just leads to them being able to secure this rune at the top lane. Cloud9 know they should be able to get an easier rune here at the bottom for sure. So no early bloodshed happening here, and it looks like they will make a split to their usual lane setup, with Shibby heading all the way towards the bottom with Flying Zebra in hand. Nushim's going to be one to block out this mid lane after Francis picks up the rune on his Shadow Fiend, and that will, of course, leave Jenkins on his off-lane Pudge. But can't help but re-emphasize, very curious how Thieman's going to be able to keep this Pudge in check by himself here if this Bounty Hunter does roam and decide to be a part of the bottom lane. But it looks like for now, Blaze, SVG is already en route towards the top part of the map.
Ice Shards block here from MSS. You really don't get to see something like this very often, but kind of like the Power Cogs, you can actually pull this into the tree line here, so he is going to do it without breaking the trees, which is obviously the most important part. So that's going to pull back the wave. Half the creep wave goes, then the other half, and he kind of resets the lane configuration for only 90 mana. Very nice for him. Does have to make sure it doesn't go under tower, but in the meantime, up top, you're talking about that Orb of Venom and the Poison Touch doing a lot of damage here.
That's a lot of damage.
Oh, and he doesn't get the turn. That would have been a bad hook. He would have fed First Blood hook if he hit the hook there.
Oh, yeah, they would have just turned on and be like, okay, fine, free hit, free new Poison Touch, whatever. And he was just hoping to get some catch under the tower, but will be coming up short, and it's going to be a bit of a sticky pickle here for Jenkins. I mean, he wasn't handed over any sort of sentry, so he'll have no idea where this bounty hunter is, and will have to continue to remain near the tower or under it until he's at least healed up and more in a comfortable stance. But all the meanwhile, SVG is actually not hanging around the top lane. He's already adventuring back towards this mid lane here, and this Shadow Fiend Blaze has no sentry himself, so he would not see this bounty hunter coming and could be in a bit of trouble.
Yep, first looks to maybe scout out the courier potential, but that's not coming. He's going to be going for the Shadow Fiend himself. No Janata, just the Orb slow, but level 2 power shot. Windrun has a slow as well, so that can definitely create more opportunities. But now it's a full rotation, and again, SVG has to be pretty much in all lanes, not at once, but over the course of the next 5 minutes. He definitely needs to be involved across the map. For now, covering up the rune spawn bottom, and they're not going to dust for this. He'll pick it up for free.
Jenkins gets to go for the top rune, which will be a bounty rune. And he's going right towards mid lane at level 1. It's going to be pinged out quickly. And he'll have to turn around and head the other way. Thieben will cut him off at the pass and smack him with the poison. Just get the hell out of here. Get back to where you came from. And he'll be still stuck in that level 1 jam. And have to go right back up to that off lane. So they'll continue to remain in the dark here for this SVG bounty hunter. I'm curious about the response that they can offer once he does show himself, let's say, in the bottom lane, if they quickly want to make something happen here in the mid or top. But Jenkins continues to just hang around. He wants to leech up probably level 2 and look for another one of his famous level 1 hooks in the mid lane if possible. Those opportunities seem to be coming few and far between.
Yep. They're going to get sentry wards pulled up by the Witch Doctor. Flying Zebra gives that to the mid lane, so they have now 4 sentries in play. 2 of them are already on the ground, though, as they had to deward the Observer placed out by SVG. SVG TP'd to the lane to get the Observer down, get out in a good spot, but just within the range of the Southern Sentry Ward, they'll be able to open up their pull. They won't, however, be able to stack for the Shadow Fiend, as that hard camp was blocked out by a sentry from Cloud9.
Yeah, my first intention was, oh, they blocked that camp because Jenkins likes to do the pull at that camp, but more than likely they know he's going to the off lane, and this is actually for the Shadow Fiend to just farm up. But Jenkins was in the area and actually used a hook around that area, so I wasn't sure if he was trying to do a blind hook pull and then realized it was actually blocked out. So he had to head back to base and heal up and makes his return to the off lane. But here we are back at bottom, and the 2 Leviathan supports are working with the pull equilibrium here, while SVG will stalk him a bit. Ree goes invis, but they have the detection of the sentry right above the pull camp here, and they're going to get off the stun. Newsham looking to follow up, has a dust, and they're going to get their kill, and that means Leviathan will strike first and get the first blood.
And the big thing is Bounty Hunter's not level 2, so even if he just takes that and immediately rotates to another lane and gets the surprise factor, he's not going to have the Janata, which would enable kills. So it's a really big pickup on the level 1 Bounty Hunter, and yeah, the Leviathan support's feeling a lot better as a result of it. Good usage of the sentries, and kind of odd, the Bounty Hunter kind of walking in that pull area within the first 4 minutes. Generally, that's a danger zone because of the fact that you block the pull.
Yeah, maybe just kind of playing with his luck, knowing that they didn't have detection at the top, and then they did not have detection at the mid. Maybe just felt like bottom lane he'd be able to kind of go without being spotted out. Mid lane, Jenkins looking to go for the hook. Actually gets the catch on the Brax here, but Thieben is nearby, and he does not have a grave, but it does not seem to be necessary. A big heal bomb will do serious work onto the Shadow Fiend, but look at this, SVG almost in trouble. Newsham comes in, they get a big stun and a kill onto Brax, and now they're on the run, and they got a dust, and they're going to get an easy grab onto SVG. Jenkins will pull that one off. He's got a hook, and oh, he hooks the creep right in front of him. Oh, Jenkins, come on. But they're still going to make chase. Newsham, they got the boots, they got the speed. If he can get close enough, he might be able to get a rot here. Pesky creep going to block him off, and he will not pursue. Thieben be able to get away. Jenkins need to be a bit more patient with that hook.
Yeah, that was a pretty big misplay because he had all the time in the world. The bottle actually came out from the Shadow Fiend to give him the mana he needed there. Really good management there from Francis. They just kind of closed the distance and got the mana he needed, but then unfortunately, the one creep in the entire quadrant is going to be the one that blocks it out. So Jenkins just getting level 3 top, and MSS doing really well for himself down bottom experience-wise. The Bounty Hunter is only level 1, but he's got a level 5 Tusk behind him.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I have not really paid much attention to MSS, and that could be a scary thing, especially if you're on the side of Leviathan, because he had been dedicated to this bottom lane. Has good, respectable farm, great levels here, about to get level 6 at 6 minutes in if he's able to stay around for the bit of XP, but nonetheless, he will be able to come online sooner than later, and that could catch off Leviathan a bit. They'll need that kind of counterplay, He does already have the TP scroll for now, but if there's a hook to break out here, let's say at the top from Jenkins, he might need to show up as a bit of a response if necessary. But it looks like Jenkins will just take the time to solo level up. He doesn't really pose much of a threat here, though, to Ritsu, who can easily just pounce away, and that means he'll be able to get free farm.
And look at the pull. I mean, that's a triple stack easy camp. It's been half cleared for one of the stacks, but overall, this is just going to destroy the creeps, no problem at all. I want for example, we'll get some extra farm through the Shadow Wave, but all in all, the bottom line is that Jenkins won't get any more creep waves here up top, and he has to roam. His only option is to roam. And so far he made one successful move, but he wants more.
Oh, Shibby comes in. Well, SVG actually comes in, taps him on the shoulder like he's going to get something started, but goes right into an LSA. The Laguna's there to follow, and SVG is just dead. No chance for him just getting that fresh and youthful level 2. And he gets a warm welcome from the first Laguna of the game. And Leviathan off to the races for the start of Game 3, 4-0.
Yeah, it just seems like the SVG kind of has at a loss of how to move across the map in this particular matchup. I'm sure he's succeeded in the Bounty Hunter in other matches, but this time it seems like Leviathan just have a different kind of angle of... It's just a vulnerability, essentially. We're going to see a hook attempt.
Oh, come on, Jenkins, come on! I love Jenkins, and I know I can be hard on him for stuff like that, but Brax was sitting still, and that could be part of the nerves coming in. I said it yesterday after Leviathan's big performance. It's been quite a while, if ever, I've seen them be able to make such a big, successful run in a tournament all the way to grand finals here. Maybe the players feeling a little bit of the nerves. And Jenkins just not really lining up these hooks. And I'm sure if I know Jenkins, he's probably being pretty hard on himself about it. But you got to keep your head in the game and stay cool. These could lead to big pickoffs. And he's still resilient. He'll hang around this mid lane and just take the XP for now.
Yeah, so I will tally that up to 2 missed kills now, but they're still up 4-0, and that's really good. I mean, they do have to worry with the Slark long term because Ritsu has farmed himself up a Midas, actually as his first real item of past boost to speed. So they need to find a way to address this Slark pretty early, but all in all, the Yule Scepter is one of the better ways to get involved against him, and that's going to be coming up very soon for Shibby, so he just needs a recipe, it looks like.
Very good for him. Once the Yules comes up, he could go out, make easy Lina combos happen here. Francis makes his return back to the mid lane here. Fully leveled up. Raises now and a simple Aquila and Power Tread. And we're anticipating he's probably going to look to go right for the mech this game. And then is it that point, Blaze? You got your Yules on your Lina, you got your mech on your Shadow Fiend. Is it that point that Leviathan looked to probably take some objectives, or is it C9 who probably look to come online and push the tempo a bit sooner?
Yeah, I don't think they do it just outright. What they most likely do is smoke with that. They get the mech, they get the Yules, and they smoke into the Dire jungle and find a kill and then a push. It just makes it that much more time efficient as well as just reliable gold income. So I think that's going to be the kind of best thing that they can accomplish. For now, though, it's still status quo. Flying Zebra gets level 5, but he's going to need a big cast here.
Yep, roll in. Shibby goes down just as quick as he gets knocked up. And now Flying Zebra shows himself, but he's going to be in trouble. There's a nice hook, though, from a rotating Jenkins Pudge. And we'll get the return kill at least on the Bounty Hunter, but Leviathan do lose 2. Jenkins still on chase here, does no mana for a secondary hook, and it looks like they clicked onto him and recognized that, so they want to turn onto him now, and there's no additional rotation from the side of Leviathan, so he's stuck all alone, which leads to an easy shackle setup, power shot right through the eyes of, and Brax is going to grab that. C9 get themselves on the board now. They quickly throw together 3 kills to Leviathan's 5.
So we're going to see some action up top here. Just Lion getting destroyed. The Dark Pact won't actually finish it off, though. The Hex actually turning it around. That Dark Pact was way too early in that situation, and he just didn't get a chance to use the Shadow Dance. Really nice finger, and of course the fact that the Lion is that high up in experience is something to behold.
And that kind of pick just makes bottom fine now for Leviathan, and they might even get more here. Though Theban does show up, gets the heal off, and Shibby does not want to proceed, even with Laguna, just in fear of what the Dazzle might be able to save here for MSS. And we'll have to step off. But Ritsu, handing himself over, makes things just kind of right again there for Leviathan. It's a big pick for your Lion. He now has his Tranquils complete, and maybe could consider venturing out into his Blink Dagger in the near future. Now with a tower even coming down, more money continues to come together for Leviathan.
Yeah. And that's a really interesting play there from Ritsu, because generally speaking, when you Dark Pact ends, that's immediately when you Shadow Dance, and you either choose to engage further or disengage. Maybe he was relying on like Power Treads levels of strength and only had the Ring of Health, but that's really nitpicking it.
Oh, that's a dead SVG. They actually didn't want to commit to Laguna, so he goes into the snowball. Will stay alive for now. Gets the heal from Theban, but Jenkins shows up, gets a nice hook onto MSS. He gets the save from the grave and goes right for a TP.
Oh!
Will they be able to stop him? Yes, they will. Zebra shows up, gets a coconut off. Theban will make it out to safety. It costs a lion in exchange for the offlane core tusk.
Man, if he gets out there, that would be insane. The stuns were just staggered enough that he couldn't have that opportunity, though. He TP'd as soon as the Light Strike Ray ended, and it didn't work out. Meantime, though, Brax does get the mid-tier 1, just goes to town with the Focus Fire and is able to clean that up. It's just that aspect of leaving the lane. It's kind of like playing against a Dragon Knight. He's gonna pop the ulti and just burn it down.
Or back in the day, a Death Prophet, but we don't see much of that
Sure.
lady anymore. And Brax is able to just kind of complete that objective at hand, and his team will be able to benefit from all the additional gold. But look at the attention now from Leviathan on the bottom. Jenkins looking for the hook. Not going to be able to catch there. Still only level 3, and it goes right behind Brax, but that means he goes closer to the Yules and sets up for the stun combo. A run-in from Jenkins will get the bite, even committing the Death Ward for it. Everything they got, and they will be able to take down the Wind Ranger.
Yeah, good pickup. Obviously, the Wind Run negates most of the Death Ward, but if they don't have the Laguna, you want to add something extra to the pile. They get the tier 1 off of that. They're still pushing on the tier 2. But it's actually 2 Yules. What do you think about that? Instead of a Yule's mech, we're looking at a Shadow Fiend and Alina. Both have the Yules. You can hook a target that is Yuled in the air and set up your kills that way, but it's still two Yule Scepters, no mechanism.
Yeah, it's a lot of setup, and I would think it'd be too much emphasis on the setup, where I feel like maybe they could have benefited more from just having the sustained power and even little bits of stats and armor from the mech itself. Very intriguing, just shows that maybe Leviathan are going to look to be pretty damn intense in the mid game to get the most out of that Yules. Otherwise, the Yules just really doesn't lead out to a whole lot. Or maybe he's using it in the sense where he wants to just farm the health through like these stacks in the jungle and benefits instead from just the mana regen. It's really hard to say. I definitely agree. It's a bit interesting. I was just anticipating it was going to be a mech, or maybe if not the mech, build into more right click and huge damage.
Yeah, it just kind of harkens back to the time where like you used to see 3+ Yules a game just because the item is so good. Obviously, the mana cost increase is a little bit harder to deal with, but end of the day, I mean, like say a Slark Shadow dances and you don't have a ground target to disable against him, just everybody Yules and just make it so that he doesn't have a good target to stay on. You can do the same thing by using a Wind Ranger when she lands a shackle so she can't focus the person down, or when a snowball is forthcoming to use the Yules on yourself. There's a lot of ways to play around your opponents with this item, and that's not even to mention the classic combos of Setup, Light Strike Array, or Requiem of Souls. So it's not automatically a worse pickup, it's just definitely not what I expected.
Very close. Jenkins saw the big bad snowball en route as he was TPing away, and he was able to make it out fortunately. But look at this, up and above, they look to go for Ritsu, who's able to pounce over the trees here, looking to make it away, and with a Shadow Amulet, hides himself temporarily. But look at the Shadow Fiend with the Invis Rune. Turns the corner, will be able to spot him out. Does he have enough burst, though, to take him down? He's awaiting an opportunity right here on the camp. Can he get a double raise?
No, he just needs a Requiem, dude.
Boom! Yeah, you're right. See you later. Instantly deleted. At that same moment, simultaneous breakout mid lane. They are going to be able to take down the Witch Doctor, but the grab for Ritsu certainly makes it well worth it. And, well, patience from your Shadow Fiend as he just continues to stalk and take out his prey.
Very interesting movement there. I think he was trying to use the Shadow Amulet to like break the neutral side of him to get the Shadow Dance regen faster and stuff like that. It might have actually meant that he didn't realize that he was being watched, whether by a ward that is actually in play there or the Invis hero. But now they've got a lot of ways to move about the map. I mean, blinks and Yules and lots of pickoff tools. Bounty Hunter is 6 behind enemy lines, so it looks like he will be able to get out of it though.
Gotta be careful though. Pudge is nearby. Has Dust ready to go, and there is a sentry mid lane. If he goes just a bit too close, the glitter will come out, and SVG will go down. It looks like it could be a possible flank play here. Yule set up into the hook, pulls Retsu right out of it. Look who comes in from behind. It's MSS rolling in. They're trying to get a hold of Shibby if possible, but they get the finger and Laguna, all for SVG. Seems a bit excessive, but look at the job get done here, and oh, Retsu pounces away. The hook could have been barely off the mark, but he plays it safe, is able to make it out from trouble. 2 go down all day from Cloud9. Here comes Leviathan, and they're going to be able to pick up a tier 1 tower grab. That's all 3 tier 1s down now, and they're confident enough they're going to continue to stride down this mid lane, Blaze.
Yeah, I mean, this was really impressive. The fact they were able to survive now, he gets healed up, and they can just keep on putting pressure out across the map. I mean, yeah, you said the Laguna seemed excessive, but he was afraid that he was going to die without casting it, so he just got it out quickly. It wasn't the best target, but it certainly is still giving them a good foothold in this game. I mean, 12-5 at this point is exactly what you need against a Dazzle Bounty Hunter. Generally speaking, the Lifesaver and the Life Taker are going to be looking for a kill, a momentum advantage, and so far we haven't really seen that. I think that Slark now really sorely needs to get involved with the Shadow Blade, and you know, there's enough reach with these Blinks and these Yules that he's not guaranteed a kill like you usually would expect a Slark at this time.
He's on the prowl for something now. He's not going to find anyone at the easy camp farming. And there's obviously no one doing the big camp as they already have a nice deep ward there. I mean, they're prepared vision-wise and control-wise to find those kind of pickoffs on Leviathan and get this Slark built up to a point. But those opportunities have not really presented themselves as Leviathan continue to kind of move as a group here. Most of them now congregated up to this top lane, looking to siege a tier 2, I'd imagine. And it looks like after the commitment of the Yules and the follow-up standard Blink Dagger, Ogre Club is in order here for Francis as he anticipate he'll build into a BKB. And the rest of the team will be there to back up. Shibby, we touched with him, and he's already got that point booster as he builds into an Agnums. We'll have to see if the timing could work out for them. And if Cloud9 are going to have to just put up with all this additional pressure, it seems like they don't even want to deal with stopping this tier 2 push. Is that just showing that Cloud9 are like, we got to stall out, we're going to let them get what they want, but we're anticipating that this just needs to be a late game for us? And is Leviathan a comfortable team to leave in late game against?
I think they're all looking for an opening on mid, because they know if there's 4 heroes top, then that's a weakness in the mid, and that Tranquil could be huge for creating space for the Slark and for getting massive farm on Cloud9. But Flying Zebra's playing it carefully enough that he's not going to be vulnerable, at least not to their tastes, and he will just kind of sit under tower. So, yeah, I feel like they don't feel good in a 5-on-5. They can stall it out a little bit with like power shot and stuff, but mostly they're just looking for some real momentum for themselves, and that's Slark getting farmed and for them finding track kills, and they're not going to find it in a 5-man fight. They want to find it just like in kind of like a 3v2 and a 3v1.
They're going to pop the dust, and they will find SVG. It was a good smoke movement from Leviathan. They go up the hill, they see their smoke cancels, and the dust comes out shortly after, and that means an easy bounty hunter snag.
That's a sacrificial play, though. Like, that saves the Slark's life, most likely, so he kind of has to do it.
Trying to be the gatekeeper for the bottom lane as a whole, and because he'll get scouted out and taken apart, Ritsu knows his limitations on farming that bottom lane, and after he gets what he wants, he heads out and ventures elsewhere into what he feels is safe territory, right back in his C9 woods. He'll proceed. And it looks like the next build-up, the drums here for him.
Yeah, it's not a game changer, but he just needs more. He just needs to keep getting good mana flow so he can keep using the Shadow Blade, and stats all around are really good for him. But now we see like big pickups like the Blink Dagger for Jenkins. They have so many ways they can start the fight off on the right foot. Like they can turn so many engages into 5v4 just with one hero making a good opener. So, I mean, there are some good items coming out like the Aghanim Scepter for Brax, and that's really important. But I'm just really worried how Cloud9 are going to be able to initiate the fights. Maybe MSS can try to like blink snowball his allies to help them out, but I feel like for the most part, if you're caught out in a position against Leviathan, it doesn't matter how long you snowball, you're still going to be in that bad position due to the Yules or the hook.
SVG will scout out for Brax here as they rotate to that top lane to respond. He is seriously just kind of being that watch beacon for his team right now. He knows that he's already down low enough that if he gets caught out, his net worth won't hand over too much to the Leviathan side. Well, you call out for the possible initiation possibilities for Cloud9. And Leviathan have already a pair of their own. Blink Dagger now complete on Jenkins here. Sets up for those easy either blink and bites or just even the better setup for the hook itself. Uh-oh, SVG did show himself here, and that's going to be a dust. And that's going to lead to a bite. Oh, unfortunate timing for the cooldown, and that means a finger comes and he's dead. Oh, could not find a little corner to tuck himself into to reinitiate the invis, and Jenkins almost got the TP out there, but not going to get it.
Still, I mean, they are controlling the map really well. A few misplays from SVG is really costing Cloud9 momentum. I mean, in a normal situation, 21 minutes, a few track kills here and there, you would have the mechanism done for the bounty hunter and be able to take advantage of the fact that essentially it's a mech team versus a no mech team. But in this case, not at all. You're losing in terms of initiation. You're equal or worse in terms of fighting power, and it just makes it much more difficult to hold the line. As we see now, Witch Doctor farming a little bit, and everybody pushing mid.
Shadow Fiend will get this party started as he starts chunking down this tower. Will remove his position. And C9 are going to gather close in one of their first tower defenses here. We have not been able to see C9 do much for 5-man or any team fight, as we already anticipated they're just not in that comfortable position yet to take a team fight. But maybe a pick, some sort of catch, as the Leviathan do split up and maybe go back to the Rezuma farm. Maybe they'll be able to cross paths here. Brax rather will lead up the hill. They drop their own ward. It will be under a sentry from Leviathan. And now they will find their own sentry. And they do not get the obs though.
Radiant Vision sees that sentry ward. Radiant Vision sees that sentry ward placed. So that is actually smoke completely revealed.
If they were scouting that position, the Sun Sentry would definitely raise a flag here. But Jenkins still inches forward. The weave will be out. I don't know if C9 are going to wait a bit and then engage to get the most out of this weave here. And for now, at least they'll step off and go for the sentry. Leviathan will wait a bit. This weave is still there. I don't know if you want to go in and fight in a -10 armor here, Mr. Shadow Fiend, but Jenkins will commit for a hook. It will be a swing and a miss.
At this point, any fight can probably be a good fight. They're on home turf. They've got a lot of ways to get their ultis out. And, the Aghanim Scepter is the big one, of course. That's 675 pure damage coming out. Finger of Death is not online, but adding that in together, you've got just this huge nuke. I mean, we're talking well over 1,000, probably closer to 1,100.
If you get caught with a hook, you're probably dead if you end up being in the crosshairs of most of Leviathan. But look at them now, going to the pit.
Yeah, this is one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit, but I'm not sure if it was worth bringing up. One aspect is they banned out the Huskar for their last one. Looking at this, oh, miss hook. But yeah, you have pure damage of 360 from the Pudge. You have a pure damage of right now 675 for the Lina. You have physical damage coming out of the Death Ward, obviously the Shadow Fiend. So all that combined together, their last ban on the Huskar instead of the Slark, I kind of feel like they had the tools to deal with a Huskar pretty well. The only thing that is exception to that is, of course, the Shallow Grave on Huskar is really, really good power. But I still feel like even then, they had some really good means to deal with the Huskar just through their heroes alone. So do you think they'd be more afraid of the Slark or the Huskar in this game, especially considering now that they've got the Aghanims and the Lina?
I mean, it's hard to say because, I mean, they still had a Witch Doctor, and we know the Death Ward would still do work on the Huskar, and plenty disabled to put it through. Pudge would certainly hate going against the Huskar. Maybe they just know the matchups that would work and wouldn't work, and I think I would find Huskar to be more scary in this lineup than the Slark, to be honest with you. And maybe they've seen and studied Ritsu's Slark in the past, and if they kind of put him in a position where that's one of the last remaining options, they would feel comfortable going against that, or at least more comfortable going against his Slark than his Huskar.
Sure.
It's hard to say, though, without being a fly on the wall of the drafting room here for Leviathan, at least. But they might get a swarm here onto T-Bin, leading with the Yules. That means that the LSA, a Dragon Slave, double man stun. Jenkins moves in, gets a nice rod setup here. Snowball will come out from MSS. Shibby could be a focal point here, and they do get him. Good Walrus Punch as a follow-up, and that means Cloud9 are able to get a return kill. They're still down 2. Ritsu, big Requiem flies out, and they annihilate Brax. Ritsu does come in from behind and gets a quick, cheeky pick onto the Witch Doctor here. He's going to force himself into a BKB, and they're going to go and turn it onto him. Jenkins will be going down. Huge right-click coming out from Ritsu. Goes into Shadow Walk, and oh, they're not going to get a catch with the stun. Still the chase here from Francis. Finally, we'll have to let up. When the dust settles, ends up being at 4-for-3 trade advantage for Leviathan. Not able to get that Ritsu Slark down.
Man, if Yushem was just a little bit further north, that would have been a huge pickup to follow through a great fight. I mean, already getting those 4 heroes was immense, but the Slark was still the kind of pick that you need. And yeah, he was vulnerable without a TP scroll. He's actually still not running a TP scroll. So BKB TP isn't an option. This guy has to run and pop all his cooldowns to keep moving. So the Blink Dagger Pursuit might actually catch him out pretty hard, and if so, then yeah, we're going to see a really big pickup on the Ritsu, which allows them to take an objective, tier 2 mid or Roshan.
We'll see. He continues to farm bottom. The rest of their team will grab the purple stuff and blaze it up as they head right on through. It looks like Roche will be the objective here, but a pesky little ogre, get the hell out of here. is unfortunately going to get a knuckle sandwich from MSS, and their whole team instantly goes right in for the Roche. Here comes Leviathan in pretty good time, though. Jenkins might just throw a blind hook just to disrupt it a bit. There it is, going to go. Gets Brax. The Aegis does get grabbed up, though, regardless. Shibby tries to follow it up, but a snowball will be there from MSS. He chunks it on forward, shows up with Brax right into a two-man stun, and Death Ward set up beautifully from Mr. Flying Zebra. That means they're going to lead to a couple of kills, a double kill for him. Ritsu, though, on the prowl back will eat the Laguna. Trying to make his way out, but there's going to be one of those Yules. They'll catch him out. Leads into an LSA. He goes into Shadow Walk, but that's going to be the Aegis. Here comes the second life. Jenkins, does he have bite? He does. He's waiting for it. Doesn't matter if you got BKB, but he's able to just shrug it off with the Death Pact. Now he's in the long way, and he's able to make it up. Faking the hook. He got it. Good catch. Grave, though, really making him sweat for it here. It looks like they will eventually bring him down, and they'll be able to get the follow-up with style coming out. Francis with a beautiful Requiem.
Was that really necessary, Francis?
He's making an emphatic gesture right there, like, Leviathan's back, baby. And just annihilates the little Dazzle. Poor little Dazzle.
Absolutely. That was still a really good tusk play there. MSS Blink snowballing actually does delay the death for the Wind Ranger, but of course the follow-up, the Lion pick that we were saying is really good to counter the snowball. The Aero Spike was perfectly on point. Yeah, in that situation where they obviously know Roche is going on because of the Helm of the Dominator creep, it's not about whether or not there's a hook on a hero, it's who gets hooked. And usually you want the Bounty Hunter to tank the hook intentionally. Instead, the Wind Ranger, the most important target, gets caught in it, and she doesn't do anything for the fight. So Cloud9 can't really get much out of the Aegis. Everybody gets wiped out, and yeah, they just are feeling really good about this game, Leviathan.
Good tier 2. Jenkins keeps Cloud9 a bit on edge as he tries to go for those blinking hooks. It's something that you could end up sleeping on. You just don't always come across a Pudge on the other team when you're kind of put in these positions. And one misstep will lead to getting caught out of position and could lead to the downfall of the game for you. But Jenkins now, as he heads back towards the pit, Leviathan will reevaluate, head back, go to advance their farm. As we look at Francis's farm, he's already got the Helm of the Dominator and has already over 3k gold here. Is it a rush to a Satanic here, Blaze, or will we at least hold the Helm for now and pick up something along the way?
I think you have plenty of room to pick up a few other ones. Butterfly seems more probable by far than Satanic. Satanic is very good in the late game stage, but seems completely unnecessary here when you're still worried about mostly right-click damage coming out. Honestly, there's no other real source of damage. So Butterfly, I'm almost guaranteed. We have seen some interesting builds from Francis today, though, so you can't count anything out. Beyond that, the mechanism is going to be finished by the Bounty Hunter. The Slark is actually going to be going for a Silver Edge here, so that can, of course, break the Presence of the Dark Lord aura, take away the Lena's passive. It doesn't actually take her current stacks away. It only makes it so that she can't renew those stacks. Otherwise, it's a really good burst amount of damage that reduces the enemy's damage output for a short time frame.
I mean, do you think it's worth it, though, to make the upgraded investment just for those few reasons? Or is it just for the fact of getting the extra stats and damage that comes along with the upgrade? It just doesn't feel like...
It's kind of just a free item slot, honestly. Yeah. Like, it's a little bit more expensive, but you get free stats for the same item slot. He wants the Shadow Blade, clearly. You need one mobility item as a Slark, so getting the Shadow Blade here, he just gets to get a little bit more of that item slot before he starts selling the drums, which I thought were a kind of questionable pickup. The movement speed's great, the attack speed even so, but he is going to be selling that item pretty soon.
Here comes Leviathan, getting ready to knock at the front door here of Cloud9. Jenkins, your fisherman, could be getting ready to set sail to a good spot. Already creep cutting, though. Coming out a little bit, looks like SVG kind of doing a bit of work in the mid lane. Ritsu will farm out the jungle in the meantime until it's necessary for him to pull back. Now that he has a TP scroll, but look at this. Going right in with a new Shiva's. Just happy to muscle his way through, and again, Demon gets an unfortunate welcome. What a hook catch from Jenkins. Leads to a beautiful Laguna. Brax is going to go down, and Rich is forced to engage, but it's in a bad situation. They get a nice stun. MSS is going to be forced to save with a snowball. They go into Francis. They will get that kill with a huge Walrus uppercut, and then the follow-up. Ritsu now prowling on the Flying Zebra. This Wooch Doctor is going to be dead, and it turns into a 2-for-1 trade. Brax forced to buyback. Yeah, Brax forced to buyback makes it a 2-for-2. And now C9 happy to at least hold and quickly just assert themselves across the map.
Yeah, just really good team play there. I mean, committing hard for the Dazzle, which is really the highest priority target by far. It's killing off the Shallow Grave means there's no Shallow Grave, means you essentially just killed that carry that he would be graving in the first place. So opening on the Dazzle, impeccable. Nothing to stop it but a Walrus Punch, which wasn't there fast enough. Or I guess a Snowball is possible, but only theoretically. Either way, the Dazzle goes down quickly, the Wind Ranger gets hooked immediately, didn't see it coming, and now it's just like, without that buyback, I think the high ground is the next target for Leviathan.
What about the Shiva's grabbing debut there? It was like we were pondering what he was going to go for, and then he just debut of a Shiva is jumping right into their base. Is it that necessary to kind of keep back the output of damage from Brax and Ritsu that Shiva's was in order with all that extra armor? It takes away a bit from his damage, but he was not only did he pick it up quick, he was happy to put it to use, but what a hook catch. This time it's going to be on the Demon. Quick save from MSS, though. He blinks forward and snowballs out from trouble. Good little bodyguard right there. Chibi moves in, doesn't get a catch on the Yules. Ritsu engaging for Shadow Fiend. He's going to be forced to BKB, which Jenkins will bite him down into place, but MSS will save him with the uppercut. Jenkins goes down, getting out a hook on his last breath. Requiem to fly will annihilate MSS. Finger onto Ritsu. Ritsu's out. 80 seconds, does have buyback. Teeban gets up in arms with Chibi. He's going to be forced out with the Grave. Keeps him alive briefly, but eventually will go down. They're also looking for Brax. Chibi will finish off the Dazzle, and now they're looking for Brax, and it looks like Brax will be caught pincered in between these trees, and this is going to be a huge catch for him. Triple kill for Chibi. Leviathan take a huge fight, and will charge once again back to the other side.
Yeah, immense, because now the Wind Ranger's down for a full minute, cannot buy back. I mean, they just wipe them out there. They're going to be able to take the tier 3 off of this at minimum, maybe force the glyph too. And yeah, I mean, the Shiva's Guard, attack speed slow is actually a pretty big aspect of Slark's damage ramp right now. Right now, he has the Hand of Midas, and he has the drums, which is great when you activate them. They give you bonus 20, but otherwise just give you a passive 5. So I think the Shiva's Guard attack speed slow just makes it so that the Slark can't really build up his essence shift quickly, and of course it makes him tanky in that BKB state. Only physical damage affecting him, and he's got all that bonus armor, so it's just a really great way to make sure that everybody stays within your Requiem of Souls until it's completed. You Shiva's Requiem, and you get even more damage because they can't get away from you.
Tier 3 down, Rax in trouble. Jenkins goes for a hook, but will only wind up with the creep. But these racks begin to drop as C9. Oh, Teeban, who had been the unfortunate target for a lot of these big bad ultimates, will get another one there. Laguna, unshameful from Chibi, just executes the Dazzle before they walk away, also claiming a part of the base. Just disgusting.
And then I immediately still clicked on the Dazzle. He just buys a gauntlet and drags it into his inventory. He's like, yeah, I'll get some more health. It's such a miserable thing when you can't survive a one-shot from this Lina.
I have no gains at all, and just will fall victim so fast. And he is a crucial element to C9, especially if they're going to be on the defensive, so he does really need to get some sort of HP on his side. Doesn't want to get caught.
The gauntlet does it. He's up to 986.
There it is.
At least something. He's not one-shottable now. It takes a second hit.
Well, a lot of pressure on C9. Leviathan again find themselves in a pretty damn favorable position. Quickly after finishing the Shivas, it's no surprise to see already Francis has nearly 3K gold up, and this is where possibly we could anticipate maybe the Butterfly coming into play. But then again, there's no real slot room for it, so I guess maybe a finish out of Satanic just makes him so big and beefy and durable.
I feel like he's going for what I would call a nuker build. Like, I would say that he's here for his ultimate. He's Shiva's ultis in the BKB state, and he just does crazy amounts of damage that way. I don't think he's looking to carry this game in the traditional sense of right clicks. He wants to nuke, he wants to do a lot of heavy magical damage output, and then the right clicks are just kind of those finishing blows. So I would say, yeah, you don't really need to. I mean, the Butterfly is still my favorite item in this context, but he clearly wants to go a different route, and Ethereal Blade would follow suit if you're really looking to get the item synergy going. He's
doing a little bit of that old school EE thing as well, like he used to do on the Doom. He even has the little ogre and gives himself the frost armor on top of it. He's got plus 28 armor, 38 all day. He is a walking beast, and if he's able to get in there and dish out the huge Requiem damage, it's certainly going to be great at this point. Now, I do fear for Leviathan and their expiration date with this kind of item build, but I suppose with appropriate farm, he could always adjust accordingly. But for now, they're sieging in. Ritsu Trying to be cheeky and crafting from behind, but they have a sentry behind that could scout him out. Will they ping it in time? No! He's going right for the Lion. All the meanwhile, they are going to get the exchange of the Dazzle, it looks like. Still, Nusham able to get off at least the Hex and the stun. They're stalling out, and they need assistance here. They're going to be able to pop off the BKB, and he's man-moding here for Francis, and Francis can't do anything about it. He gets chopped down and taken apart. Witch Doctor gets off a big death ward, but now Ritsu puts attention onto him. He gets help from Nusham, and Nusham is able to get off the finger, but Ritsu, alive and well, will be able to go into the Shadow Dance. Now goes Invis, Glimmer, as they look to retreat, and Jenkins, who's one of the remaining survivors inside the base, will be cleaned up. Leviathan will not be successful on this push. Flying Zebra will be the lone survivor, barely making it out there in the end.
Yeah. Ritsu made the best play he could there, just evade the backline, and he got 22 Essence Chip stacks out of it, but in the end, they still lose 4 heroes. 2 buybacks, 1 on the Tusk, the Bounty Hunter, and obviously the Wind Ranger and Dazzle are crippled once more. It's just so hard when all these spells can initiate and to this degree and this value. And Ritsu's playing the best he can. He really is, but it's just a really hard game when Leviathan have this much of an advantage. And Refresher, yeah, that was the nuker build all the way, man. Refresher Orb, Shadow Fiend. I've seen this a couple times in like really heavy pub stack situations where like these guys are like 8k MMR going up against 5ks and this kind of stuff. It's exaggerated, of course, but I think it's UR that's built this a couple times. I'm not 100% sure, but it's definitely one of those NA Dota things.
And that's how the introduction of the Yules almost felt. I remember back at Star Ladder Season 10, it was something that Arteezy and Sumail at the time were kind of flirting around a bit at NEL, and I laughed about it watching those games and made the joke at Star Ladder, and that's where we started seeing it come into play, and then eventually it just kind of became the norm. And really, it was a DAC where it really fell into his prime, and you saw the respect even from a lot of the Eastern teams trying to incorporate it into their own lineup, and they still were pretty uncomfortable with it and didn't find as much success. But is this kind of the spawn child of even that blaze? Now you go from stylistic Blink Yules, big Spirit Bombs, and now you have a secondary Spirit Bomb to even follow it up with. Just kind of seems to follow down that same path.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of shenanigans, but it's also has a lot of potential value. People in Twitch chat will joke it's for double shadow raises, but it's just essentially you open up with Yules, BKB Shiva's Requiem, and then you double that up. You get an extra Blink, maybe an extra Yules. You definitely get a lot of nuke damage out, and this is pretty much your maximum item slots. You were talking about tapering, and yeah, BOTs, and this item build is done. Like, there's not much more that you can do with this. So no traditional carry coming out of the Shadow Fiend, but still Francis is doing a hell of a lot of damage in the fights, and I think he has enough mana to do all this. I certainly hope so.
I just wonder if there might be a point after a couple engagements and they're not really progressing that he might have to fall back on a more carry build-up. Look at this, though. Smoke's popped. Brax is just inside the trees here. They drop the sentry. He's going to dish out the power shot. He's able to blink away to safety. Big weave does come out from Theban. Shaka, what a connection on Nusham. How the hell does that work? But it's good enough. C9 look to converge, and quickly Jenkins is going to get the Glimmer caping out to safety. SVG not so lucky. We'll get annihilated with the Laguna, just as the Witch Doctor will get annihilated from that Walrus Punch. But look at them continue to chase here. They're going to be able to take out Jenkins, which means a gem will hit the deck. They walk away from it because it's so bloody, but MSS is like, fine, I'll frickin' take it. He'll pick it up and walk away.
I think a misclick there from Francis. He blinked back towards the fountain and had his BKB up after the Yules. I think that he was looking for the Blink Requiem, and instead he just kind of bails out of the fight, and they can't do much more with it. So really good Shackle, though. Can't take it away from Cloud9. Brax really setting up his team, and now Butterfly is up for Slark. He's got all the attack speed he could ask for. From now, it's just about staying alive.
As time goes on, I feel like C9 are going to be in more of a comfortable late-game position with their amount of right-click damage, because Slark is building in that sense, where Shadow Fiend is not. And normally,
and he's going to go for Abyssal next, which is the hard counter to what the Shadow Fiend's trying to do. So Abyssal Blade will interrupt the Requiem. He'll get like one lucky bash with all this attack speed, and then the Shadow Fiend will be dead, and he won't get maybe even one Requiem out of the 2 off. All
meanwhile building up sweet essence charges. It's going to be a bit disgusting, and you have to wonder if that means either option A is they continue to try to get what they can out of this build while he's at his critical mass for this style, or if he's going to be forced to go into a farm period and adjust for the late game. It doesn't look like it might come easy if C9 are already continuing to building up pressure like this. I mean, they certainly feel comfortable. They have the Aegis, if I'm not mistaken, which they do still on Brax. They can continue to force Imagine inside the base, and that means there's just limited farm options out there for the Shadow Fiend to kind of change his game up a bit. And I think C9 could use that to their advantage. Brax is very big at this point. Look at that, 3,400. He already has the blink and the Yags. He might be able to start building into some damage. Do you think just a straight up Daedalus is the way to go?
I mean, I almost feel like you still need mobility, like a 4-staff or something, but it's hard to go back for it after you have like the ultimate ability to deal physical damage. You don't really want to go back and start grabbing utility stuff, but at the same time, you have to consider your teammates, your Dazzle that keeps getting picked off. Like, maybe you can save his life with a 4-staff, so I would say consider alternatives, but with 3,700 gold saved up, yeah, it's got to be either the Daedalus or the Hex.
We'll see. For now, he pressures bottom a bit and will farm on his way out. And you can already see the difference in body language from Leviathan right now, where they were parading down these lanes and looking for quick openings on pulling C9 out from their base. Now they're the ones that are kind of stuck back and a bit more in a reserve position here. Both supports even just kind of hanging out side by side at this mid lane. The Witch Doctor, though, has some good farm. Agnum's Glimmer. Not as luxurious being able to get a BKB quite yet, but as long as he doesn't get caught from behind in like that previous fight from Ritsu, he can still get off a big, big death ward.
Now there is one mechanic I want to talk about a little bit here. Requiem of Souls does take damage away from your opponents when they're hit by it, or I even think under BKB, I think it still debuffs them at least. It takes 50% of their base damage away, and since the Slark has Scotty and Butterfly, he's actually running mostly base damage. 178, the white number there, is the amount of base damage that he is rocking, and that's going to be cut in half while he's afflicted by Requiem. So has to keep that in mind, has to really emphasize the SF.
They get a quick jump, and again, for the third time, Teeman will meet the bad end of a Requiem and go down immediately. But look at the assertion coming out from Shibby. He's already into the fray. Look at the follow-up, though. That's the Requiem and Shivas I'm talking about, baby. Francis tries to get as much done, but big snowball does come out from MSS, and they're going to be turning it right back around. Look at Cloud9 go in now. What a shackle connection from Brax. That means Zebra is going to be taken care of. Francis now trying to retreat. He has already dished out all he can. They got a Laguna here for Ritsu, but he's going to get saved up. Grabbed up from MSS. They move on. It looks like they're going to wait for Shibby to fall, and they get him down. Cloud9 have just taken control of this game. They take out 4 all day from Leviathan. They lose only 2, and MSS continues to deliver huge snowball plays.
Absolutely, the MSS really redefined that fight. It's so much work, and hell, the fact is that you get Slark in a snowball, and he gets Shadow Dance regen while he's in it. You can't see him, so he's healing up, and he gets, you know, an extra 10%, 15% heal during that snowball time. So that's really cool synergy, and they were able to just do so much fight control with the good shackle coming in from Brax, with the snowball just wrecking through things. And yeah, 2 Requiems or not, they still end up losing the fight. I mean, I still like the idea behind it, but in practice there are some real limitations, and especially when the Slark finishes the Abyssal, which he should probably sell Midas for at this point, he can really punish the Shadow Fiend for this greed.
Looks like they will, and there's just not going to be time for Francis to adjust that build-up. And now they fear for lack of possible damage. Jenkins the Fisherman here. Eyeballing Brax a bit. Goes for a Valiant Hook, but Brax is quick to respond with a Blink if even necessary. And he won't get him. Now the tower will go down. C9 have eliminated all outer towers from the Leviathan side now. They just seem to be in so much more control. If they want to start to slow play this, they could farm their way out Blaze, eventually circle around for the next Roche, new Aegis, and make a push inside the Imagine base.
I mean, I actually really fear for the potential for Leviathan to even approach the next 10-20 minutes. Like, their late game, while they've traditionally had some really good split push potential where they can control the map, in this case they only have tools to engage and fight. And I really fear that they're going to be just completely outclassed once Cloud9 just gets 1 extra set of items. 1437, going to be looking for Solar Crest within the next 500 gold. Obviously, the Bounty Hunter, already BKB and Mech, can do a lot. The Solar Crest actually does come out for Jenkins too, so that's something against the Slark at least. It still gets broken by BKB, but I believe Dark Pack leaves it on, so you can at least inhibit his right clicks that way.
Won't matter on the timing of it, as you already pointed out. Leviathan now sweep through this top lane setup, while C9 do the polar opposite here, working through the bottom, and still continuing to touch base here. It's a bit of a long Roche timer here, unfortunately, for Cloud9 if they were hoping to wait for it. Still have about 4 minutes or so. But here comes Leviathan up top. maybe hoping to kind of bait Shibby out front here and then have a follow-up. There will be no response as of yet, at least from Cloud9.
Very conservative from Ritsu. He could buy out for it, the Abyssal Blade that is, but I think he's going to keep his buyback. So just going to rely on the Basher. And one lucky Bash can still turn the fight quite a bit. But also the fact is the map's being dragged out right now. We see that Leviathan are in retreat. They're regrouping perhaps for a smoke. And that does buy enough time to get the surplus gold for the buyback as well as the Abyssal. In fact, he's only 1,200 off of that.
And with that, they will just continue to wait for that Abyssal to come online, for the Aegis to come back up, before Cloud9 do feel comfortable about moving out. And if Leviathan do want to try to time it out, sweep out maybe with a smoke, get their own pick on the Cloud9, and move in for the Roche after that, that's not going to come easy. But they're stalking here. And it looks like they're not going to be moving forward on anything else. Ritsu proceeds with his farm here, now looking into the Leviathan side Ancient Camp. Still holding 4,600 gold, waiting that Abyssal to show up. Brax is going to be going down for the Daedalus, has the Crystallis at least for now. MSS picks up the Lotus Orb here. We saw a lot of fun with that in the previous game. And what's it banking to do on this one? Certainly helps with the Hex, helps with the Yules, Laguna, Finger, Cask.
I think Laguna is one of the bigger ones because it's actually going to come down to a point where the Lina is looking for a Refresher Orb and looks to double Laguna, because that's the only way they can actually close out this game, is if they can actually kill the Slark, and they don't really have the damage to do it unless he makes a mistake. But we'll see if he makes that mistake. Walking here on the flank, they have a Sentry Ward down. This could be huge.
They'll see Ritsu, but are they able to turn around onto him? Brax is going to be right behind. Nushim does come in, gets the Hex onto him eventually. Here comes the Requiem, but that means the cast will also bounce back from the Lotus. And look at it go. Right on through. Jenkins is going to get knocked up. Now they turn with Brax and SVG. They all go for Jenkins, and they're looking to clear out Leviathan. They get the Yules up for now, but he's going to come back and do a bit of destruction here. They'll finish out Nushim. They get him shackled. Brax will finish him off. And up and above, one of the lone survivors here in Shibby is able to barely scathe away by his TP. But C9 lose no one for that engagement, and Leviathan will lose 4. And that started with Ritsu being spotted out from behind, but it was still just such an awkward position that Leviathan just couldn't seem to reevaluate the situation, and C9 had already converged.
Yeah, I mean, the best case scenario is they focus the hell of the Slug, they get every spell they need to bring him down, and they just get Shallow Grave because there's no pressure on Theban at that point. So, like, your best case scenario is still a loss, and that was just a fight that they weren't ready to take, and some brilliant execution from Cloud9. They really were able to just follow through and make sure that everybody, even like the chaos that is created by SF using himself twice and blinking around to try to escape, Brax is right on top of that the whole time. Now they get the Aegis on the Wind Ranger. They're going to get the cheese here on, well, it looks like SVG's Bounty Hunter, but no matter the case, look at that graph, dude. 10,000 net worth in advantage, and over the course of 15 minutes, now down to 10,000 negative.
Just a huge, huge swing here for C9, and Leviathan, their prime opportunity seems to have been slipping away. Shibby now pulls out the plan B option and will pressure out this top lane if possible, but C9 are already en route. Tier 2 was already dropped, so it's time to ascend into the high ground if possible. Jenkins leads in with a ballsy hook. Got to get a creep into the base even faster, I suppose, but for now will not get the grab. Jump in stun, force forward. Cheeky plays onto Ritsu, but he quickly will just packed it off. Goes right for the tier 3. There's going to be the hook, but Ritsu's like, fine, bring me closer to my food. Goes right for Jenkins and gets him immediately. This orb just in case. While this happens, they do get a bit distracted, hiding behind the racks here. Shibby's still going to work on that top lane, by the way, but they are going to be able to bring down the line. We touch with Shibby. Shibby had already taken the tier 3 and is going for the racks now here, Blaze. And the Brax have yet to be taken down from the mid lane of C9. Now they start going down. There's going to be one to drop, the second to follow, but the top racks have already been taken care of. Look at Shibby go, man. He's going right for the bottom racks, which is already exposed from the previous engagement.
Seriously?
MSS finally going to be forced back, but Shibby still wants to stand.
Oh, my.
Ooh, we'll see the second
he
rotation.
Get the snowball. Yes, he can with the blink. Oh, the courier dies,
free
and the
courier.
BKB prevents the snowball. The vision acquired, but he can't. Walrus punch in time. Oh my. So he gets all but 1 racks, all for free. Glyph on cooldown, and they don't finish the job in mid. They have to finish it now.
This is ridiculous. They're 1 Rax away from making it into Megas for favor of Leviathan. Ritsu, though, able to commit, gets the easy kill on the Flying Zebra. Godlike for him. But look at Francis go in there, tries to get the grab. Laguna will come out, and they take care of T-Bin. Buyback comes from Flying Zebra. Ritsu looking to re-engage, trying to get Francis here. Death Ward from the high ground, though. Does work on the Brax. Brax turns around. Big Shackle Shot will connect. Now Shibby looks to move in, and they get a blanket bite from Jenkins, which finishes off Brax. Gem will hit the deck. Now being pinged out, but they continue their chase for Ritsu. There's going to be the Yules. He's going to be forced with the BKB, and they'll just kite him a bit. Jenkins shows up, needs more time. There's going to be the hook. 15 before the bite, the finger from the high ground, and they get Ritsu down. 99 seconds. We'll have a buyback ready to go. Leviathan managed to hold. They only lose their mid laner Rax, and they will be well in ahead in base domination.
I cannot believe Shibby just pulled that off. That was Grand Theft Ancient, practically. He took their entire base. He took the mid racks, the top racks. He took so much on bottom, just walking right in there while they were fully committed to an engagement elsewhere. If not for that play, Leviathan would be completely out of this game right now. But with it, they have a real chance. They just have to all in on one building and then not lose for the next 2 minutes. If they can get themselves reset, fully back online and alive with Mega Creeps, they definitely have a shot at this. Buyback
so
forced.
Hungry. Yeah, they just forced out the buybacks. MSS does get him this time with the Walrus Punch. Shibby is going to get a brief save with the hook, but it might lead to Jenkins' own kill. And it will. It looks like they catch him with the Atos. He's going to be going for another TP, but not going anywhere. Maybe just a bit too hungry to go for that last Rax. Yeah, they get the buybacks out, but they were quick to rotate in.
Why does the Slark not have the Abyssal Blade? This is so important for him. He sold his Basher to buy an MKB, and yes, he is going up against the Solar Crest, but he needs the Abyssal to really punish the SF. But the SF now has the AC, bootsless build. Okay, bootsless nuker build coming in from Francis, Chilong Kwa, Mineski fanboy. This guy, he's got auras out the wazoo. But what it comes down to, he still needs to farm up the composite 36 souls. And I really feel like the Slark has to get the Abyssal because MKB does not bash when your target is immune to magic. So there's really not much stopping the SF from getting his spells out the way he intends.
We'll have to see if that ends up coming back to bite Cloud9 in their ass as they come waltzing down this mid lane here, realizing that they don't have much of a base to fall back to. If things don't work out for them moving forward, they will create the pressure here mid where they've already taken down the Rax and potentially shift back towards the bottom. Still will put them a Rax behind, but now they even have MSS showing up with Boots of Travel. Tier 3 will go down, and it's on Leviathan to defend. They still need 10 seconds for Shibby to be back. Jenkins faking out with that hook. But there will be an immediate follow-up with all those blinks, and it looks like Leviathan will have to hand over the Rax. Cloud9, though, do they stick around? Ooh, what a hook and catch from Jenkins. Now, we'll pour out the Lotus Orb. Oh, he caught himself with the Laguna, but there was a quick Yule, so Shibby will not take the damage. Nushim, though, very low. Moves in, still gets the finger off onto SVG, but it's not going to be enough to finish him off. Big Death Ward, though, is getting dropped right now from the Doctor. But they move on to him. It looks like he could be in a bit of trouble here. Looking to sweep on in. Big catch. Slark very low. Ritsu goes down. No buyback. There's the Requiem. Good snowball snake from MSS, but will they be able to catch him on the way out? He's rolling away from trouble. He blinks out to safety. Him and Brax, they're running. Buybacks are forced out already as Shibby had rotated up to that top lane, trying to move into the base. C9 on the run. MSS is able to make it away. Brax has to hightail it to the side shop just to get a TP.
Are you kidding me? The fact that Ritsu just got focused before he could get his BKB off there, insane. And the self-Yules from Shibby, just knowing that he was going to get hit by a 950 pure damage nuke otherwise. Well, actually, I take that back. It isn't agged up, so it wouldn't be, but it doesn't matter. That Yules was a great way to respond to it. It's like, essentially, because of the delay factor of the Echo, it works better than if you're nuking a Blade Mail. Anyways, now we see Weave scouting things out outside, but they don't care. With Slark down, they are going for this Rax. They just need one creep in, and it's about to be there.
There it is. First one in is going to be Francis Jenkins. He's going to try to be the gatekeeper so they can't put their attention onto him, but they might be get the Shadow Fiend down. Does get the Yules off. Jenkins goes in for a bite on the Brax. They do finish off Francis, but he buys back. Glyph is going to be out. Glyph is down now. Shibby's going for Megas. He's going to be forced to Yules here. Zebra steps back. Nushim looks to re-engage, and now Shibby, looking to go for the finish, gets the Megas. Megas are out now, but they could lose a lot for it. Jenkins is going to get dropped, and they're on the chase here, getting any sort of stragglers. Nice quick blink. Nushim is gone.
They want to just go and punish them. They want to go down mid, but they have to deal with their base. This is going to be a problem for the next several minutes, is they have to deal with their base. The Slark isn't up. He's got a Mooch Art in his inventory, and he's raring to go, but he is not up right now. And that means that right now, Leviathan have the huge Rax advantage. Mega Creeps versus just 2 lanes of supers. I absolutely cannot believe my eyes that they are actually, in my mind, in a winning position with 17,000 net worth behind. They are definitely at the advantage, but they still have to hold it, and they also have to find a win condition, because the Mega Creeps itself won't do it if the Slark has like a Mjolnir. If the Slark has Lifesteal and Mjolnir, he can take on Megas. But that being said, right now he just bought out the Moon Shard, and he's got a lot of attack speed, but that's about it.
And we had seen it before in the Leviathan High Council matchup. Sometimes the creeps will just take over before you know it. And Leviathan could be in a point where they're simply looking to prolong the fight as long as possible and keep C9 distracted. Because if they do not have proper defense, these creeps will take over. For now, they are outside the base lines, and C9 are on the move. They crossed over the river here, and they know that they are on life support at this point, Blaze. They want to not fall behind in this series. A win here for Leviathan would put match point for them, and they would be at a 2-to-1 advantage in this best of 5.
I think Francis just goes for the throne. Whenever they go in, he goes for the throne. They do not have glyph. They use the glyph to try to hold the racks, and therefore the tier 4s are easy money for him. He's got the AC. So he's clearing it out. They have to fall back, but they can't afford to at the same time.
And already teeping out. There's going to be no one left inside the base. Look at this. Francis already goes in and starts working on those tier 4s. Desperation starts kicking in here for Cloud9 as Ritsu starts going in for the tier 4s on his own.
They have no TPs.
But they can't get back. There's going to be one from Theban, but it's too late. The Rax is exposed, and Francis starts right-clicking it down. Theban shows up. He's like, please don't do this to my home. I will grave myself, and I will try to stop you. For C9, they've only got one tier 4 down. They're getting stunned up, held in place, and locked down as Francis is the one to finish it off. MSS is there, but he can't stop him either. He gets swarmed from the creeps, and Leviathan has done it again. They will beat C9 in Game 3 and move ahead into a 2-1 game advantage. KotLGuy screams out from Francis as he's very happy to come back from such a huge net worth deficit.
Man, Rat Dota is absolutely back. Maybe not the same style that we remember from the era of TI3 at Alliance, but still, nevertheless, a hell of a rat play. They find their opportunities, and it wasn't even like, obviously SF was the one to finish it, but it was Shibby, man, taking those racks down in the middle of that fight, just 10 minutes back. That is what put them in this position to all in and actually take this to match point for them, 2-to-1. Favoring Leviathan. I can't believe it, but there it is. Well played. To both sides, Cloud9 really were looking to bring it back, but a couple too many deaths from the Dazzle. The Slark just couldn't do enough in the time that was given to him. It was really, really a tough game, but Leviathan, wow.
Leviathan now just one win away from probably getting their first big successful push in a tournament since their team history, and it's starting to look like a bit of a reality here for Cloud9, a team coming into this matchup as 80-20 favorites. They do not want to be going down like this, so it's on them to kind of shake it off and hope that they can succeed in Game 4, which will be coming up in just a moment. This is KotLGuy for Beyond the Summit, casting with Blaze. We'll take a small break, and when we return, it's going to be Game 4 of the BTS America's Grand Final. Team Leviathan going against Cloud9. See you soon.